What is your view on calorie counting and this idea that we can, weight loss or being healthy is just about having a calorie deficit?
It's complete nonsense. There's never been any long-term study showing that calorie counting is an effective way to lose weight and maintain weight loss.
Counting calories is a scam.
This is a full day of eating whilst I'm in a calorie deficit.
So is it any wonder with all the conflicting information out there as to why people are so confused as to whether calorie counting should or should not be used to try and lose weight? For those of you that haven't been here before, I've been involved in fitness in one way or another for a long period of time. I've gone from being overweight to being in photo shoot condition, and so I know and understand the mechanisms that are required to get your body in the shape that you need. And in today's video, we're going to go over whether calorie counting is actually something that you need to lose weight, or whether, as the current trend states, it's actually an inefficient way to lose weight. So here's the quick answer. Yes, a calorie deficit does and will always result in you losing weight. But is that really the question that people are asking? Do people just want to lose weight? We know all the time from people that go on diets, whether it's Slimming World or Weight Watchers, that people will lose weight and they will put it back on. Why? Because they don't adjust their lifestyle. Let's consider how a calorie deficit works. Consider that you've got a fuel tanker and you need to put a certain amount of fuel in that tanker each day. Let's call it 2,000 litres. Well, you fill that fuel tanker up, and what happens after you reach 2,000 litres? Fuel from the top overspills into the overflow, and that overflow is effectively your fat reserves. So it's pretty clear from a thermodynamic perspective that when you eat more or consume more or put more fuel in the tanker, that your fat reserves are going to increase. And therefore what happens is when the tanker's burning fuel and it's burning off more, you can't top it off from the fuel reserves, and you haven't got enough in the tanker, then the fuel is going to go down, and therefore the fat is going to go down. But this isn't really the question that we're wanting to know. The question that most people are wanting to know is, can I use calorie counting to lose weight and stay lean? Because most people want to stay lean. The question is more about adherence than it is about actually the mechanism of losing weight. And so can you adhere to calorie counting year in, year out? Yes, you could, but it's going to be very, very difficult. And so that the reason why the research and a lot of people are stating that calorie counting is ineffective for weight management is not because it doesn't help you lose weight, it's because it's difficult to stick to. And so if we look at some of the mechanisms that we can use to track our calories, MyFitnessPal, Chronometer, all these different apps that track your food, it's great. But for how long are you going to live your life scanning food, tracking that month in, month out? And yeah, all right, over time, you're going to get a better understanding of what's in different foods and what you can eat. But if you're not tracking foods religiously until you get to know and understand your body and make a lifestyle change, you're not going to be able to maintain that low percentage body fat. And so typically what happens is you use calorie counting to lose the weight, and then because you're not tracking your calories, your body goes back to what is called homeostatic position. You see, your body always wants to be in some form of equilibrium, and generally if you've been a certain way or you've lived a certain way for a certain period of time, you achieve something called homeostasis. It's a common thing in the body. It's like your body always wants to regulate itself at 37 degrees Celsius because that is an optimum condition for your body. And so what happens is over a period of time, you will always end up balancing out. And so the real question that we should be asking is, how can we make changes to our lifestyle that mean that we don't need to be in calorie counting? But over time, our homeostatic position is a healthy, low body fat, high muscle mass, conditioned tone. The other thing that calorie counting doesn't account for is the quality of your foods. Now, there's a lot more research coming out that's talking around the damage to perhaps ultra-processed foods. If you're eating lots of sugary foods and chocolates, you're going to be having insulin spikes, and things like ghrelin and other hormones in your body play a massive factor in actually how well you can adhere to the certain diet that you're on. And so sometimes you could take 500 calories of salads, high in fiber, fill you up and make you feel really full for a long period of time, meaning that you're really satiated and you're not going to be needing to eat anymore. And at the same time, you can have a couple of honey roasted nuts and a chocolate bar. You've eaten the same things, but because of that spike in your insulin and all the sugars in your body, you'll be craving more food. We've all had that feeling when we've gone and we've eaten some chocolate and we actually want to go back to the packet and eat that next biscuit. But when have you actually had that from eating fruit or eating salad? And so one of the good tricks that I've learned over the years is say to yourself, if you want to maintain some weight loss, you can eat as much food as you want, but that food has to be healthy food. So rather than going to the biscuit tin and getting a Snickers or getting yourself a chocolate bar, you can get some fruit, you can get yourself an apple, you can eat 2 bananas, because if you're really hungry, you will always grab the fruit. But actually, if you're just being greedy, you will go for the chocolate. The other thing that the calorie counting doesn't account for is muscle mass. So when you're in a calorie deficit, you may also lose some muscle. And so what actually happens over time, muscle is a key contributor to speeding up your metabolism. If you've got more muscle on your body, muscle has a higher thermic effect, which means that you're burning more calories and your body will consume more energy over time. And so as you go into a calorie deficit, what actually happens is you may lose some muscle mass, you'll get smaller, and your basal metabolic rate will reduce. You'll then start to move less and you'll actually need fewer calories. And so the real challenge is eating in a calorie deficit is your baseline calories will have to drop and drop until eventually often it gets to an unsustainable weight. And so what we actually need to focus on is how can we shift our lifestyle to one that's bringing in higher quality foods, compounding that with high quality exercise that gives us a strong muscle mass, a strong core and a strong foundation, and enable us to live the life that we want to live without yo-yoing up and down. And so the real trick that we want to look at is lifestyle change, not calorie deficit.